Okay, welcome everybody to the Mathewson-Plank hot stove discussion tonight, and it is all around the trade deadline. A lot of action today. The Phillies just made a big move. They got a closer finally from the Minnesota Twins, Duran,
Good.
for two of their top prospects, a number 4 and number 6 prospect, Mick Abel, and Ty 8, that was their number 6 prospect. So two guys going, but man, they got a closer, and that's huge.
Yeah,
With that, Dan, you happy with that?
Yeah, he's got a really big arm. I mean, he can throw.
He can throw. I was looking at some of his SABR stats. He has like a 3% barrel rate. Like, guys just don't barrel this guy up. He has great movement. Obviously, he throws 102, 103 miles per hour too. So some really, really good stuff with those guys. I'm gonna add a couple more people coming in here and we'll let them in. So I guess Karen, Pittsburgh Pirates are making a couple moves. Ke'Bryan Hayes was the big one I was surprised about.
I'm just keeping my fingers and hopefully that whatever's going to happen is not stupid.
Well, that's
You could probably get about 3 or 4 guys for Skeens, maybe about 9 or 10 guys for Skeens. But
Yeah, it just, I think, when the other night, when they were flighting a poster that said, "Get somebody buy this team." It's not
All
really.
right, Dixie.
I
I
always,
did
I always
see.
keep that for Karen.
What?
I always,
Show
I
it to
always
her
keep
again.
this for you.
Oh, how sweet.
I thought there was a chance of Hayes maybe going to the Yankees, but oh well.
Just keep your fingers crossed and hopefully, like I said, they don't do anything stupid.
well, I had seen where Cashman was complaining about the Pirates' demands were a little too rich for him.
I knew that was going to happen.
I have Twitter open right now, and they just had John Heyman just reported Mets are closing in on a trade for Ryan Helsley.
Okay.
So it's a day early, and everybody's making their splashes. It looks like.
Well, I'm really surprised that the Pirates still are holding on to Bednar at this point.
I am too.
Yeah.
Now Hayes, I'm surprised because he's, one of the guys that they signed long term, but he just doesn't hit. He's great glove, but he just doesn't hit.
MLB trade rumor says Philly's close to acquiring Johan Duran.
Yeah, they did. It closed. They closed it out.
Wow.
Mick Abel and Eduardo Ty, two of their top prospects.
They paid something for it.
They wanted Painter from what I heard, but Phillies weren't giving him up.
Good. Well, who's the top prospect that they've been touting for quite a while?
They have Aiden Miller.
That's
Aiden Miller. Yeah, he's the one that they're not going to trade him either, I don't think. But
right.
Yeah, him and Painter, I think, are untouchable. Ty 8's really good. I watched him play. He just got promoted up to high A at Jersey Shore, and that guy can really hit. So Minnesota's getting a great bat there. So what do you guys think about anybody else have like Mike, Yankees? What are you thinking? Dixie, your Red Sox?
Everyone here is on pins and needles and expect the worst, but no one really knows what's going to happen.
They're on that buying or selling,
No one knows which way they're going to go.
Yeah.
They could sell one guy and that would allow them to buy 2 guys. No one knows what they're going to do.
What's the feeling up there, Dixie, with I know we're talking about trades that might happen in the next 48 hours or 24 hours, but going back to June with Devers, do you think Boston made out on that deal? Because it seems like Boston has had the best record, or one of the best records since that trade, and San Francisco is kind of going in the dumps.
You're forgetting something.
Go ahead.
You're forgetting that the Red Sox lost 2 out of 3 games to the first 2 teams they played after the All-Star break because they were good teams. Anytime they play good teams, they're probably going to get beat. The philosophical thing here is that as soon as Devers was traded, everybody went out of their way to say what a rotten person Devers was, even though they weren't saying that before. But
That's how they
that
say
seems to
face.
be the thing to do here. As soon as you trade somebody, you make sure that they get out of town and you burn all the bridges. It's just the way they do things here. And the guy they got, Hicks, from San Francisco, he pitched a couple of good games. He was lit up the other night. I mean, his night 2 nights ago was last of the 9th inning against the Twins. A single, hit batter, ground out, single, game over. That was his relief. So I was at the San Francisco Giants Preservation Society meeting the other night. They all talk about the Giants all the time. So they were glad to see Hicks goes. Now they're trying to get rid of Devers too.
That's what I was going to say. I've heard rumors the Giants are going to move him.
He's doing the same thing he did for the Red Sox at the beginning of the season, which was strike out.
I could see them moving him because I thought that was that ballpark. He's going to be miserable in it. He's not going to hit. I mean, I'm looking at his stats for the Giants. 224 average. In 100. That seems like a lot of at bats. 134 at bats, but he's not exactly hitting the cover off the ball.
No, he's not. But you gotta go back and look at what happened to Devers from the start of the season. And because I don't think many players could deal with what he has gone through all season. You got to take the whole thing into consideration, not just little pieces. First, they get Bregman, tell him he's not going to play third anymore. Then you tell him he's going to DH, and then a guy gets hurt, so you then say you got to play first base. And Devers is not the kind of player or person that can handle that sort of stuff. And nobody ever gave him the benefit of the doubt in all of this turmoil. And so his whole philosophical brain for this season is gone, I think. I think it's just gone. That's why he was so happy to go to San Francisco, because at least he was out of here, where people were on his ass every single minute of the day.
How much was he getting paid? How many million was he getting paid?
Yeah, and he got paid those millions because the Red Sox put themselves in that position by getting rid of Betts, Bogarts, and everybody else they could get rid of, leaving Devers as the only guy left who could actually hit. So they put themselves in that position. They put him in that position to pay him. Then they paid him, and then they started screwing him over right away.
Yeah, and the problem for them is Bregman has them over a barrel at this point. So he's going to get a ton of money, and they can't lose him. So they'll wait. I think they're going to way overpay just to keep him, because they're going to lose space if Bregman moves on somewhere else.
Well, the thing is that I've been a Bregman fan since he was a rookie or a second year player. I always thought he was great with Houston. I loved him in Houston. And when he came here, I said, what do they expect this one guy to do for this team, which is made up of people who have no track record whatsoever? He can't win all of these games by himself, although he has tried to. And if he wasn't out for a month, he'd have amazing stats. And he's done extremely well, better than I thought he ever could here. But you're right. They can't get rid of him because he is it. He is doing everything for them. He's teaching young kids how to play, showing the old guys how to play. He's playing well. There's nothing he isn't doing. Yes, you are correct. They almost must keep him now. I don't know what that's gonna cost.
Well, I was gonna say,
And since I
they've
don't
got
have
no
season
leverage in
tickets anymore, I don't care
negotiation.
what it costs.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have any leverage in negotiations because he's in the driver's seat, and he's got what, Boris is his agent, right? So he's gonna really screw him for money.
He should. And you know, they have enough possible players. Their young players are possible good players. They have 3 or 4 really good ones, it seems. Now they could all fall. They could all fall easily. But right now they look to have 3 or 4 really good players to go along with Story and Bregman and a couple other guys. Their pitching staff is crazy because if you look at each one of their pitches, they could be great. They could also be completely lousy, which they all have been at one time or another. But if they all become good, even a little bit better than good, like Crochet, you know, this team could do something. So that's why I don't know if they know whether they should sell or buy at this point.
Scott, I don't want to get off topic, but I do want to ask one additional question. Did you watch the Netflix series, and what did you think of it if you did? On the Red Sox,
No, I didn't.
okay, it essentially covers last season, behind the scenes. It was interesting. I thought it was interesting. I mean, it would be more interesting if it was, say, my team or Scott's team or Frank's team, but it was an interesting look behind the scenes of a
Well,
team.
you have to understand that I am not a Red Sox fan. I have never been a Red Sox fan.
I thought you were.
Except for maybe 3 or 4 months in 1975.
Okay, I take that back now. I'm sorry.
I live here. I live 1 mile from Fenway Park.
You said you went to games
I had season tickets for 30 years.
and not a fan.
Because I live here and I'm a baseball fan. So I have to see them because they're down the street.
Dan, you're a member of the Boston chapter, aren't you? Are you a Red Sox fan? Do you have any input on what's going on
I'm
here?
not a Red Sox fan.
Oh my goodness.
I was an Expos fan growing up because I just was able to get there, and I was a smart kid and I was a small kid and I was bullied by all the Red Sox fans. So it was great to be, have my allegiance aligned with somebody else. And then I got into scouting and I couldn't even be an Expos fan. Just because I end up working for the Mets, and then you can't, all that goes out the window when you start taking a paycheck. So it's been a while since I was heavily involved with the Bourne Braves before I got into scouting of the Cape League. I was the vice president there. I was the team secretary, and I helped build that ballpark that they have there now. So in terms of fandom, that's it for me. I get, a couple of months in the summer, and the rest of the year, I just kind of get to be the interested observer and watch everything from 10,000 feet.
Okay.
Just looking over some things that are coming across. Looks like the Ryan Helsley to the Mets is official now. 3 top prospects from the Mets to the Cardinals.
Well, they got Tyler Rogers earlier today too, from San Francisco.
Yeah, I thought they gave up a lot for that. I can't remember the 2 prospects they gave up, but they gave up.
It was
number
yeah.
10 and
I
number
thought it was
14.
3.
Yeah.
I want the general manager of the Rockies fired for giving up Ryan McMahon to those morons from New York for practically nothing. They were desperate to get a third baseman and a hitter. They give up McMahon, and what do they get for him? A couple of maybe guys? That's all you could get out of the Yankees? Come on.
Just the way Cashman likes it.
Yeah, that's right. Everything's going to go to them. It's a wonder Manfred Mann hasn't decided that Trump and Skeens have to go to the Yankees for the rest of the season, because that's the way it should be. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if they passed that law.
He gets
That'd be
offended.
fine by me.
He gets offended if he's not offered that package.
That'd be fine by me. I'd love to see Skeens and pinstripes. I don't think it's happening, but
Well, not yet.
No, yeah.
In this house, they're known as the New York frauds.
If only if go ahead.
I was saying the one big name that hasn't been moved yet is that Eugenio Suarez, the third baseman from Arizona. So
I think
I'm not
everybody's
sure.
backing off being he got hit.
It could be. He took one off the knuckles last
But
night.
not broken, apparently.
No.
I guess.
Best part of this time of year is every time somebody gets taken out of a game for whatever reason, everyone like hyperventilates on Twitter, like, oh, I got traded, he got traded. And somebody has to go to the end of the dugout and be like, no, we're just taking you out. You can get traded.
Yeah, I have
But
to say
nobody
that
nobody knows, right? So
Max Kepler was in the line and they removed him, and right away the Philly fans were like, "Finally, he's gone!" Like he's not a fan favorite in Philly right now.
Well, there were all kinds of rumors out of Minnesota today because Correa was taken out.
Yes, he was set. Yep.
Yeah, him in
the
Houston,
rumor was that might go back to Houston.
Houston, yeah.
What do you think of this? I think he would have gone really quickly if it hadn't been for the investigation by Class A from Cleveland. You think he would have been snapped up if he hadn't been named in that investigation?
Depends what anybody was offering, I would imagine. You just can't give up a guy like that and not get something in return. That's what I always wonder about. Everybody's always pushing guys out, but the fans who live in that city, aren't they supposed to be saying to themselves, well, what are we getting in return for this? We have to play a season next year. Just because we might be giving up this year, we might be playing in the league next year. What are we going to do? And that's what I'm thinking about Suarez in Arizona. How many guys are they giving up, and what do they do next year?
I was surprised when the Guardians put Stephen Kwan out there for, he's available. I'm thinking, here's a guy, all he does is hit. Like he plays the game the right way, and like, why would you want to move somebody like that?
Kwan's a good ball player.
He's very good ball player. I don't get it. I definitely think he's going to get moved now with Class A, the way that's going, because they're not going to get anything for him. So now they have to look to move Kwan. Maybe another relief pitcher, but
it's always more suspicious too when a team's kind of there, 3-4 games back. They could make a run, and then they decide to pull the plug. That another layer of intrigue.
So far, what teams do you think have benefited and strengthened themselves, and who just are staying status quo? Did anybody make any moves that's really going to help them?
Well, the Duran move, I think, really does strengthen the Phils, but I think they need a couple more, frankly. I think they need
I do too.
more relief help than just that. And I'm not sure even if right now seems like the starting pitching's leaking oil a little bit right now too. Suarez and Wheeler have both been a little bit shaky in their last couple outings.
yeah, I think Painter had a good game today at Lehigh. He pitched like 6.1 innings, gave up 1 run. So
Okay, good.
he'll be coming up here shortly. Abel was pitching really well too. He had a little bit of a rough go there for a couple games in Philly, but I think he has a bright future. But with the way Romano's been pitching in that bullpen, they had to make a move.
I can't, he comes in the game and there comes a flag.
That's why I was kind of surprised that the Mets made the move for Helsley, because they have Edwin Diaz. Now they got two very good closers. So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how it plays out.
I think Helsley's now a setup man.
I think the interesting thing is which starters are going to go by tomorrow at what, 6 o'clock? Is that the time? I mean, you know, I've heard from the Nationals, Gore might be traded. That guy's good, real good.
Now the Nationals I think they did trade a couple guys today.
Yes, they did.
A couple starters, as a matter of fact,
Oh, I
right?
didn't
Yes.
see that.
Yes.
But Moore was not one of them, though.
So does that mean they have to hold on to him? I wonder, but because he was the one he was like the number one, I think, draft choice in the country by the Padres, who went there in the ill-fated Juan Soto trade. So, and he's kind of like he's real good, but obviously with the Nationals, he's not going to look that good.
Just in case you missed it, Roger Clemens' son gave up back-to-back home runs today in the 9th inning. Second baseman came in to pitch and he gave up a couple of home runs, and that's why the Red Sox won 13-1.
I think he's throwing like 50 miles an hour, Cody Clemens. Is that what he's throwing? That's what he did in
He
Philly.
was throwing 60, 65, and he threw a couple at 83.
Whoa.
But they're only a couple.
You really muscled up on that one. Now I know the Pirates have they've been dangling Mitch Keller. Not sure if that's going any place or not, because he's still signed for a couple more years yet.
I think they just made just about everyone available except McCutcheon and Skeens. I mean, if the price was right, they were willing to deal.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
No, Luis Roberts' name's getting thrown around a lot. I'm hoping the Phillies don't touch him. They don't need another 220 batter, strikes out a ton and gets injured a lot.
So what do the Phillies need? A left fielder or a center fielder or both at this point?
They could use a center fielder for sure. I mean, Duran from the Red Sox would be great in Philly, but you know, I'm not sure it's going to take a lot to pry him away.
If he gets dealt and the deal is not super, there are going to be pitchforks and torches at Fenway.
Rightfully so.
These people are just on the edge now of really being pissed off,
Now,
and that will send them over.
contract situation.
I, for one, am shocked that people in Boston are mad all the time. I mean, I don't know how that could happen.
What could cause that?
I can't imagine. The report that kept going around up here was that the Padres kept calling like, hey, do you want to trade him? Hey, do you want to trade Duran? Hey, do you want to trade Duran? And that was essentially the report. They gave a couple of packages of guys that, you know, I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know if they'd take that. It's like, oh, that's why they didn't take it. Okay. And it just wasn't, I remember reading the thing and wanting the 2 minutes back.
Well, the Red Sox have a lot of pieces to a puzzle, and nobody knows what the puzzle looks like. But they're all walking around out there, and in any game you can say, that guy played well, that guy played well. He didn't do too well. That guy played well. It's the same thing every day. So Cora's gotta put these pieces together so it looks like a puzzle. But I don't know when he's gonna do that.
Honestly, it feels like one of those college football teams that spends a lot of money, and then the guys get there and they realize they don't like half of them, and they end up half of the guys end up back in the portal and they just get a new batch trying to mix and match and figure it out. That's exactly what the Red Sox feel like.
But isn't the problem with the trade deadline is you really, I mean, if you want your team's in it, you're excited if you get somebody, but the truth is you really can't judge, is a trade going to work out if you get 2 or 3 minor leaguers? You just don't know now. Maybe it'll be a great trade in 2 years, maybe it won't be. That's the kind of, I think, if your team gets somebody, everybody's excited, but yeah, we seem to be giving up a lot, but we're not sure if this guy is ever gonna amount to anything. That's the hard thing. Fans you can't judge it in real time. Check back in a couple of years to see if the trade is good. I mean, maybe Abel will turn out to be great for the Twins in a couple of years. It's hard to get starters, but maybe he'll never be more than a 500 pitcher. It's just hard to judge.
And I think of last year the Dodgers got Tommy Edmonds. Everybody wasn't really wowed about that deal, but he turned out to really help them in the playoffs. He was a nice pickup for them. So sometimes it says lower tier moves that people go under the radar and they turn out pretty well.
Who
Because
wants
if
to get
any
in on the
starter-
ground floor and take Nick Kurtz?
Nick Kurtz is a monster, man. I love that guy.
The only
wake
thing,
and rake.
the only thing tainted about that 4 home run game was the last home run was off an outfielder.
Yeah.
And I watched the highlights. He almost had 5 home runs. I think he had a double that
Yeah.
that
Yeah, the
just
double
missed.
almost went out. And the other thing was 3 of the home runs went to the opposite field.
They got a scouting report on him to throw him breaking balls away, and it was like they sent it to him because he was waiting on the first 2, and I think he went up there the 3rd time. He's like, well, they're not going to pitch me that way again. They can't. They've got to throw me a fastball at some stage, and he got one, and that was the one he pulled. That was the monster shot.
He reminds me so much of Jim Thome.
Oh
When
yeah,
I watch him bat, I'm like, man, that looks like a young Jim Thome.
good call.
He lives right down the street from me, by the way. Well, if he comes back to this area after his new stardom, but we're really proud of him around here.
How old is he? Did he go to college or out of high
Yeah,
school?
He was-
went to Wake Forest. He was in
Okay.
college.
Yeah, I think he's 21 exact. I think he's 21 because he went in last year's draft.
He finished.
Oh, I didn't. I'm assuming he was a junior in 20. Add a year, he's 21.
He played as a freshman at the local high school here, and then he went to, I don't know, one of those schools where schools
The academy.
just on sports.
Baseball factory.
Well, if we beat the trade deadline to death, I thought maybe we could spend a few minutes talking about the Hall of Fame weekend. I didn't know if anybody had a chance to watch any of the speeches. I have not had a chance to watch it. I recorded it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. But anybody have any thoughts on the speeches from the past weekend?
Just that Ichiro has fooled people forever, and he can speak perfect English. I mean, that was beautiful. I mean, he's just kept everybody at arm's length, and it's a great cover. But no, I thought that was really neat that he gave the speech in English, and he's a funny guy.
They were very lucky that the bad weather passed over in the morning.
Parker poem was electric. It was just one of those things. Like you knew it was him. His son was delivering it, but it was him, and he got to be
his
there
son
for a
was just
second.
like him.
Oh, I know.
That's crazy.
I know. And the walk too. Even like down to the walk. One of my friends said to me that Ichiro might be the most liked player of his era. And just one of those people that just everybody just takes to, and yeah, like nobody hates, one of those things, nobody hates Dolly Parton, right? It's
I,
just,
I may have told Scott and Frank this, but years ago, a number of years ago, when he was playing for the Yankees, I took my son to a game, and Ichiro was playing right field, and I've never seen he stretched between every pitch for 9 innings. I mean, to actually see that between every pitch, he was doing these stretches. I mean, he's just an impressive individual, and I think when you do hear his speech, I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing, but from the clips I've seen, I mean, he just approached his craft like a professional. And that, I think, unfortunately, though guys get paid, a lot of times they really aren't professional in their approach. And I mean, he's somebody, and I think the neat thing about the whole thing was, you think about it, two of the guys, the different people that made it to the Hall of Fame. Obviously, Parker was an impressive physical presence. Billy Wagner was what, 5'10" maybe? Ichiro 5'11". People wondered if he was big enough to play in the United States. I mean, it is interesting how different guys get it done, but Ichiro's a special, special talent. But just watching a guy and his approach and how seriously he took. I mean, he's not somebody. I mean, I literally think the guy could still play now if he had to.
yeah, for a while there after he retired, Ken Griffey would go on these random tours to places.
Mhm.
And they showed him hitting in some stadium. I forget if it was the Philippines or Japan. And he just walked up there, just started hitting rockets. It just, for the guys who just are naturals.
Yeah, and they
It
they
is,
they showed a clip. Must have been somewhere. Well, it was indoors. Wagner was pitching to him like a little batting practice for Ichiro, and Ichiro was just hitting ropes. You know what I mean, one after the other. It's just. I mean, he's a guy who loves it. I mean, I mean, he had to retire at a certain age, but I think if he didn't have to, he'd still be playing.
Hmm.
yeah, I guess a friend of mine who was up there sent pictures. I guess he and the Wagner family like took over some small field in Cooperstown and played catch for a while the other day. I I see it's one of those Apple phone pictures. It's far away, but you just, how can you not love that? That's just wonderful. You could tell it meant something to all of them, to what, individually, but Wagner especially. Yeah, I don't know how many times, even though he's throwing 100, he's still 5'8", 5'9". Everyone tells you can't make it. The first arm injury you have, everyone's, oh well, it's 5'8".
And the fact that he was a righty till he broke his arm. I mean it's a crazy story, but maybe we've had this discussion a little bit in the past. Maybe for another hot stove sometime we do the Hall of Fame because that drives me insane every year. And again, with the Wagner situation going from how many percent to how many percent to how many percent, eventually, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I don't understand the baseball writers. And look, the next year when it's a pretty weak ballot of new people coming on the ballot, most of the writers are going to put 10 names in there, even though at best there's probably maybe 5 legitimate Hall of Famers. That's the thing that I never understand. I mean, I just never understand um, the writers and how, in my opinion, they get something wrong. There's no way that somebody should go from literally 12% to 15% to 18% to 20, and suddenly he's at 65% and we got to push him over the line next year. It just, I don't understand the writers. I mean, if there's, I know there's, what is it, 10 slots on the ballot. if there are 5 Hall of Famers, vote for 5 people. Don't vote for people that you liked for some reason. I mean, because you do, I forget the list of new people coming on the ballot, but it is pretty weak. They're just, you know,
Cole Hamels, I think it's Cole Hamels,
is it
Braun. Braun's in that group, who's a steroids guy. I don't know how to list in front of me, but I know Cole Hamels is in that.
You think he's a Hall of Famer?
No.
Mhm. He's the Hall of pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's very good. He's not a Hall of Famer.
I'm always, like I said, I'm always amazed at some of the yeah, I'm just looking here. Next year, Braun, Cole Hamels, Ryan Braun, and then it goes to Shin-Soo Choo, Edwin Encarnacion, Alex Gordon, Matt Kemp, Nick Markakis, Hunter Pence. I mean, serious, you
Yeah,
know.
those,
But I guarantee you, most of the writers will vote for 10 people. You know, and that I don't get. So
I don't think Braun's going to get a lot of votes. With the steroid situation, I don't think he gets many. I think Beltran's going to get in next year. He was pretty high. Like what, 60s?
yeah. There was 2 that missed fairly well, and gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Philly's second baseman.
Yeah,
Utley.
he was like
Utley,
20
thank you.
30%.
Utley's should jump next year. You know, his number, I think, wasn't he about 40 something percent? Or no, he was the one who dropped a lot at the last second. The Hall of Fame tracker was showing him at like something like, was it, am I correct? Like something like 50 something percent, and he might have dropped down to in the high 30s or something. Once all the ballots were
He's right
counted.
around 40%. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was
That's only 3 years in. So, I think he has a real shot at it.
Yeah, he's going to get in. What Andrew Jones? He's at what, 66?
It's like he had two careers, you know, the good career and then the man, did he drop a lot at the end
Very bad career. Yeah.
with the Dodgers and I've heard, not I haven't studied it, but as great as he's supposed to be defensively, I've heard some questions that the metrics don't show him as quite as good. I don't know if that's accurate or not. You know, that his reputation might have been better than his metrics. So
He's got 2 years left. He's at 66, so he probably will get in. It'll be close. And Alex
yeah,
Rodriguez, Manny Ramirez, those guys, they're steroids. I don't know.
I don't think this, you know, I think that's a question for the Veterans Committee someday, you know, what they do with those guys.
And it was pretty sad with Ryan Sandberg's passing during this past weekend too. And he was
I'm gonna be visiting my son this weekend, so we're gonna be at the game on Saturday, but they're home for the first time on Friday. So I'm assuming, I'm not sure if they're gonna wait till Saturday to have whatever acknowledgement of his passing or if they're gonna do it Friday. I'm assuming they'll do it Friday, but I don't know.
Tony, you mentioned when we were talking about trades, you were talking about players that get thrown in.
Mhm.
They're kind of like under the radar, and they turn out to be a gold nugget for the team. And Sandberg was like that when the Phillies unloaded him. Larry Bowe was in a contract dispute, and they shipped him off to Chicago for Ivan DeJesus, who was the
Mhm.
better player. And Chicago wanted him to up the ante a little bit, so they threw Sandberg in, and look how that
Yeah.
turned.
wow.
Yeah, I think Boa had about 2 or 3 years there, and Sandberg had what, 15 or so. But
Yeah, next to
yeah.
Fergie Jenkins trade, that might be the worst in Philly history.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a painful one.
The Chicago
Well, they're pro-
chapter, the Chicago chapter is having a Ryan Sandberg thing at 8 o'clock tonight.
Oh,
So I put my confirmation in for that. So
yeah, that's cool.
I want to see what they have to say.
They had a meeting. I had to go back to the SABR events page on the calendar there to see when it was, because I was in on that call, and it was back in March of 21. They had on their Zoom meeting, the Chicago chapter. They were doing Bobby Denier, and Sandberg came on the call. And when those two guys started telling stories, it was one of the best Zoom calls I've ever been on. It went for almost 2 hours, and they just told story after story after story, and everybody was loving it. I think they were referred to as the Daily Double.
Hmm.
Well, another topic I thought we could bring up is this whole Bryce Harper and Manfred locker room thing. Love to hear what everybody else's thoughts are on this and where we're headed with the labor situation.
Well, from watching ESPN, my understanding is the word salary cap never came up in the conversation, but I think everybody knew where it was going. And I don't know. I mean, the guy is the commissioner. You got to show him a little respect. I think Harper went over and above a little bit. I mean, you could have taken him off to the side and said, "Hey, we can discuss this between ourselves." Whatever. I don't know if Harper was trying to establish himself as the alpha male in the room. I don't know, but yeah, I just think Harper just handled that poorly. But I give Manfred credit for walking into the Lions den, because that's a touchy subject with the players. But at the same time, it's the only professional league that doesn't have a salary cap. So, and luxury tap is a pseudo salary cap.
Right.
It's a soft cap. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not sure that that was the time and place to be negotiating with anybody at that point.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time for that in the coming months.
It,
But if that's the way the players are thinking, it might be a rough negotiation for a new contract. And I don't know, it takes a while when they have those stoppages. Baseball always comes back. It takes a long time, but people say, "Oh, never be the same again, never be the same again." But somehow it always rebounds. But I don't know. I mean, people just get tired of that after a while.
I don't know. I guess I feel that, it with such a disparity between the certain teams and certain teams, I've never been opposed to, whatever. 100 million on the low end, you have to spend 100 million. You can't spend more than 200 million or 250 million or whatever. But look, I may be in the minority, but what was it when we had the replacement players? Was it like 96? What year was that? 90,
94.
95.
I mean, they the owners eventually blinked in that situation where, you know, I don't know. I'd like to believe, maybe I just don't have as much sympathy for the players because as a fan, I know how expensive it is to go to a game. We've talked about this before, how, eventually the costs get passed down, and instead of being able to go, as a leisure activity, going to baseball games now like going to a Broadway show. I mean, you got to make an investment, and I think it's when you're paying guys, $45 million, or it's like what's happening with football. All of a sudden the 50 million, everybody's a $50 million quarterback. Baseball's gonna, you've got look, how much is Schwarber gonna get next year? I mean, I don't think the Phillies can afford to let him go. And he's gonna demand lots of money, but eventually it's the fans that end up getting hurt. So I guess I think for competitive balance and everything, a fair cap on the high end and a cap on the low end. That's why, if you do that, maybe you have the owner of the Pirates not pocketing all the money that he's pocketing at this point. So, I mean, it's not, I know that once you get to the playoffs, it's a crapshoot. Short series, anything can happen. But for the most part, the teams that have a lot of money are going to do better than the teams that don't. And I think, unfortunately, this is headed where there's going to be a lockout and there's going to be part of the 27 seasons that goes down the tubes.
My impression of this, and I'm gonna out myself as someone who is intensely pro-labor and is part of a union. Look, you need 9 owners to decide, hey, we're gonna shut this thing down for 2 years, 3 years until we get our cap and until we reduce costs. And my impression of this is they have 9 owners, they're shutting it down. It's not up for discussion. There are going to be terms laid out at some stage, probably after a lockout. And I would suspect they include a clawback of money already spent on contracts. I find it funny that people defend the owners as much as they do when we keep seeing these stories. And we saw one, a week ago, that the NFL had colluded to tamp down salaries. Well, of course, and the story was the union wasn't doing enough to push back, and the guy who was the head of the union, signed off on a non-disclosure agreement to not make it public. Like, that's the biggest story in labor politics in half a decade. Why did you hide it? It's not in your interest to hide that at all. Just that, to me, as somebody who's been through a couple of these type of negotiations, that just got the feel of what's coming, and it's terrible for everybody if that's the case. Like, no fan wants to see any kind of lockout, lockdown, missed time. And I'm still smarting about the Expos in 2004. It's we were gonna win it. It was the clearest thing. We were gonna win it. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. Also, while I've got the mic, Lou Whitaker for Hall of Fame.
Well, that's a whole nother question. The different veterans committees.
I know. That's why it kills me. That's why it
That's a-
hurts more.
Yeah, you could talk all day about maybe certain guys that got in the Hall of Fame because they knew people on the committees and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I find the Hall of Fame fascinating, but it's also frustrating because it doesn't, logically, some of the stuff doesn't make sense. Like, poor Dick Allen, why couldn't he get in while he was still alive? You know what I mean? That's
That was the worst part of the weekend.
Mhm. And I'm old enough to remember, I mean, I was a kid and stuff, but what a controversial figure he was. The pictures of him smoking in the dugout and back in the day, and sure the writers did not love him. And look, we've I don't want to take the mic too much, but the Ozzie Smith thing always drives me crazy because I was actually in San Diego at the time when Ozzie first came up. And he was a horrible hitting shortstop who, was always great with the glove, but basically, couldn't hit his way out of a paper bag for a while. And Ozzie Smith was a great defensive player, and he's the kind of guy, but he walks into the Hall of Fame in his first year, where other guys who I think have been as impactful end up having to wait 6, 7, 8, 9 years. It's all look for any of the old timers, isn't it? Didn't Joe DiMaggio not make it to the Hall of Fame till his third time on the ballot? So it's all kind of some of the things just don't make sense.
I think Mark DeRosa made a big mistake as well, going in and getting himself involved in this situation as a coach of Team USA. Whether he was joking or not in the locker room, who knows who's right, but boy, that's not going to sit well with some of the players.
I missed that story, Scott. What did he say?
He went in and basically said the commissioner deserves your respect. You need to listen to him, and the roundabout way.
Okay.
And it wasn't taken so lightly. It was like people were not happy with his comments.
I think he said something to the effect of, you don't want to like piss off the commissioner. He could do things to you.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And people didn't take that well. I think Harper needed to treat him a little better.
Well, the commissioner pisses us off and he doesn't give a shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How much longer does he have on his current contract before he's up for renewal?
I think 2 or 3 years, I think.
Well, he was lobbying for an extension here, beginning of the year.
That's a deal that's worked out pretty well. You hear a lot of free agent deals don't work out so hot long term, but that's been a pretty good deal. All in the context of the craziness of baseball, that's been a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's great having a commissioner who doesn't really like the game. It's always good.
His contract will expire in January 2029.
Wow.
He's still a pretty good player. And what is he? 7 or 8 years into the deal.
I was talking about the commissioner. Who are you talking about, Mike?
What's that?
I was talking about the commissioner's contract. Who are you?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was talking about Harper. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No.
Harper's unhappy because he's underpaid at this point, right?
Yeah, I was talking to Harper. I'm sorry.
Again, his 25 million. He feels like he's screwed on the deal. So
I think he was supposed to announce a new TV contract too by the All-Star break, and that didn't happen. So where are we at now with the replacement for ESPN? That whole situation needs to be worked out. I think they've done some really good job with like the Rick Wood Classic last year, the Speedway thing this weekend. I think it's going to be pretty neat. I think they're expecting like 86,000 fans, which is going to be like the biggest crowd. I don't know how long, but I think these things are pretty neat that they're doing, but they need to lock down some of the contract stuff with the networks and figure out this blackout situation, because that just infuriates everybody.
It seems like more and more they're going to the streaming services like Netflix, and you hear about Amazon getting involved with that at some point. More and more, it just isn't going to be where you can just turn on the game.
yeah, when is it going to be eventually where at least some of the playoffs are any of the playoff games now exclusive on streaming? I'm trying to remember if it is, it's a darn shame. But,
Well, NFL has done it, so
I think some of them are like TBS. Those not everybody gets those stations. Yeah, I don't get TBS in my Fubo package, so I won't see those games.
And that's the thing, I can turn on some of them and I will see the Savannah Bananas. I will see pole. I will see everything but baseball. So that makes it kind of tough. But
Well, next year the NBA is going to Amazon, I think too. You know,
I'm good.
more and more, it's like I said, they're all going to the paid streaming services.
Oh, well, it's almost 8 o'clock. I'm gonna buzz off and go to that Ryan Sandberg thing and see what that's all about. Good night. Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
See you, Dixie.
Take care, Dixie.
Yeah, I need to go to,
All right. See you, Karen. I want to stop the recording here.
okay.
Take care, Karen.